All right, are we good? Are we live? I always like to double check to make sure. Wouldn't expect to see a little bit of eyeball, were you? But welcome everyone. Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here to bring you yet another My Hero Academia reaction and review. So, in the last chapter of My Hero Academia, we pretty much got Hawks and Best Jeanist just traveling around. And it led to us finding out a little bit of Hawks' history. Hold on, let me pull up respective pages here and there. Actually, you know what? Hold on, let me make sure that that chat can actually be seen on here. Oh wait, I don't even have it up. Sorry, you guys didn't even appear here because I took off chat in order to properly show it on the screen. So sorry about that. Kitty Bree, Shoto Todoroki, Icy Hot, and Rax. Welcome everyone. Let's go ahead and get started with today's chapter. Let me bring up this page. It showed Hawks and the history of Hawks, where he was brought up and how he came to where he is right now. And now it just seems like the world does not think too highly of heroes to the things that happened prior. But let's go ahead and get into this chapter. I got myself some water so that way I can keep myself hydrated and I don't lose my voice, because I have been known to do that. But moving on, let me not read ahead of this chapter here. So we're here on chapter 300. Chapter 300 chapters of My Hero Academia. Every 100 milestone is extremely significant when it comes to manga. So for My Hero to hit 300, we're just getting started. But narration says, urban areas descended into panic. Society had barely begun to process the destruction of 2 days prior, and the small army of vicious escaped villains only exacerbated this unprecedented crisis. The existence of the Nomu was the final nail in the coffin. And then it has the Nomu pointing at themselves like, me? That is the most comedic I have ever seen Nomu. As Hawks had explained to Endeavor, rumors of Nomu sightings have been spreading nationwide, and for a time, people weren't sure what to believe. The concept of uncanny, not quite human entities had been gnawing away at society's collective consciousness ever since the first attack at UA. And as the rumors grew more pervasive, so too did people's anxieties and fears. That frustration had built up over time until the levees burst. And it's just showing glass shattering and then people breaking into like a restaurant. Grab the cash, the food too. We get to walk around in broad daylight. Seems like fate's taking it easy on us. She and prisoner escapees from the cider house. See volume 23, Bakugo said, get a job, loser, and beat these guys easily. So these guys were people that were beaten by Bakugo. I believe this was during their training with Endeavor, or I could be wrong, or it's just beforehand where they were training with other heroes. But apparently Bakugo beat these guys before. And as they're trying to raid this restaurant, someone pops out of the back. Not on my watch! The civilians fighting back, huh? A support item, and the shop, I guess this is the shop owner, and he comes darting out of the corner full speed with a support item in his hands. We're gonna stand up and protect our city! And it shows all the employees and other people all prepared to fight these people. Reports of an attack on Shinjuku. It's the Cider House gang, fresh out of Shion prison. Get to the scene. Wash! And it's the Wash hero. The seeds were already sown. We're back to narration. With their faith in heroes shaken, people decided to take matters of self-defense into their own hands, using tools and weapons readily available of the market. But these were civilians, untrained in counter-villain ops. suddenly engaging in armed combat. The altercation that happened between the cider house gang and the shop owners completely destroyed the restaurant, and it wrecked a whole bunch of buildings outside as well. And there are numerous people laying all over the ground, whether they're dead or I can't tell from here, but no one's moving, and the surrounding area has been destroyed. This is what happens when people think that they can do the same job as heroes. Casualties happen. Unprecedented destruction happens. This is kind of the thing that set up the whole events of Civil War in the comics. Like, these wannabe heroes who were really just trying to do it all for attention decided to raid a building full of supervillains. One of those supervillains happened to be a person who can literally explode like a nuke, and he thought, like, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. It's like, it's the same deal for these civilians. They have no idea what they're getting into. They think that just because they see people stand up to people and are heroes, that they can just do the same exact thing. No, they were trained, and they learned how to fight these people properly. You can't just be a civilian and then just jump in harm's way and think everything's going to be okay. Immediately forgetting that's exactly how this story started with Midoriya. You can't be like the main character of a story and then just jump in and think everything's going to be okay. Only the main character can do that. You're not protected by plot armor. But, continuing here, the battles were rarely contained and often incurred excessive damage and casualties. And Wash can only walk up to the support item and lift it up because, I mean, no one else is, you know, I guess either conscious or alive. There's just like a bunch of bodies everywhere. Wash. And he can only hold it up and solemnly say that. But then it says, in just 2 days, these incidents were already a common occurrence nationwide. In 2 days, regular civilians, were already trying to fight people with quirks. So this is just one instance, but in just 2 days, they were commonplace. People were thinking, we're not going to take it. And so they're like, okay, take this. And people just dying left and right. Too little, too late. And someone throws something at Wash as civilians pop up. Oh, great. Now we're having a moment from One Punch Man where someone's trying to say, like, well, if they didn't do all of this, then maybe we wouldn't have had this problem. You know, people like that. You're too little, too late. We were just waiting it out inside since we couldn't leave, but we got caught in the crossfire anyway. Well, Wash, where were you? And then Wash actually says something. Because we've only known him to say Wash, but he actually says something. Hold on. Sorry about that. My dad came in, brought in his case of Mountain Dew, and my family brought pizza. Meat lovers downstairs, so I'm going to get myself a slice when I'm done here. But this is the first time, going back to it, this dude is random Raven says, well, where were you, Wash? And then Wash glares at him, and he actually says something that isn't just him saying Wash. But let me say hello to Anita Nguyen, Ngayen Bach. Hopefully I said that name right. If I butchered your name, please forgive me. Please, Anita. I'll just call you Anita if I just got it wrong, because I don't want to mispronounce people's names. But welcome back, Karma. Wash actually says, let's disinfect those wounds and get you to a hospital. This is the first time we hear Wash's voice. Well, see Wash's voice. Aside from saying, wash, 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 wash. That's this first time we see him actually saying words. But now we're cutting to more narration. The ranks of heroes began to thin. And then we have, oh, it's fine. Well, all the same, I'll just call you Anita so that way I don't mispronounce your name. Then we have another hero saying, in light of the recent destruction, I see no option but to fall on my own sword and resign. Wait, heroes are retiring? In light of this? Hold on, what? Even heroes of fair renown and talent, including an older one who had plenty of savings from his days as a young hero but had continued to serve regardless. Yes, Yoroi Musha, the number 9 hero, announced his abrupt retirement. Falling on your sword? Fancy way to say you're quitting your job. All I ever wanted was love and respect. You're just dodging any real responsibility. If you quit, what's gonna happen now? You old coward, I was a fan of yours, darn it! So, and people are throwing things at him. Mad at heroes that they don't know what to do in light of all these events. Do people not forget that even though heroes are heroes, they're also still people? It's not like, well, okay, it was a whole bunch of destruction, but not everyone is All Might. Do they not understand that? Do they not understand that All Might was a symbol of peace? Here's the thing. Civilians here in My Hero Academia, for every good person who thinks like, well, we'll get through this, there's always bad people. But then at the same time, civilians in My Hero have been spoiled by what All Might represented. So now that even if destruction happens, they think that everyone is supposed to respond to it as quickly as All Might. Everyone is not All Might. Not a lot of people are going to be able to live up to the standards that All Might set. Like the bar that All Might set, not everyone's going to be able to reach that. Not everyone's going to be able to give everyone peace of mind. So these civilians are like, peace has cost them their strength. Victory has defeated you. Like, that is how every civilian is feeling right now. They've been spoiled by the safeness and the safety and security that All Might has given them, that they can't think of any other. That the moment they see opposition, the moment they see destruction happen, they automatically think, well, it's time for these people to behave like, even after All Might retired and they saw him for what he was, frail form and everything, they're still trying to hold heroes to that same All Might standard. And thus, they've been spoiled by all the good times they had with All Might that they think all these heroes are supposed to respond the exact same way. Now, mind you, heroes, they still have a job to do. But now people have been so spoiled by what they had that they expect everyone to respond to that same standard. And if that doesn't happen, well, these heroes are worthless. They're not All Might. They're just worthless then. No matter how many people these heroes save after the destruction from 2 days ago, now all the civilians are acting all like, oh, are you retiring? Oh, you coward. You just don't want the responsibility. These people have no idea what's going through the heroes' heads right now. So this is actually quite selfish for the civilians to be this way. We expect you to be heroes and do everything in your power to make us feel safe, while we kick back and relax and behave as if we're not capable of doing things ourselves. These civilians and these news reporters are so spoiled about being protected by someone else that the thought of them not being that way it's all the hero's fault. These are some spoiled people. Wow, because I can't agree with anything that they're saying. You're just dodging any real responsibility, falling on your sword, fancy way of saying you're quitting your job. I'm actually kind of upset about the way these reporters and civilians are acting. They don't know what it takes to be a hero because they're just a civilian. They can only gasp and awe and stare in awe at these people who risk their literal lives to keep these people safe so that they can go about their meaningless lives and just like, oh, I don't need to worry about anything. These heroes will do it. That is a level of selfishness and conceited mindset that actually makes me not like these civilians right now. I don't care if there was destruction a whole bunch of days ago. Heroes lost their lives, but you're still expecting everyone to behave like ain't nothing happened. Let's just get on it. Let's not rest. Let's not take a breather. They're expecting these heroes to be on such a high level of alert that they're always heroes 100% of the time, and they're not their regular selves at any point. Especially reporters. Oh, good God, I hate reporters in anime and manga. Because they think they're so high and mighty, thinking like, oh, well, because of this action, this happened. So what are you going to do in response to that? I don't know. What are you going to do? You going to sit there and report on this? Are you going to lend a hand? You don't have to have a hero license to help people. So are you going to help out people? What are you doing to help out your fellow neighbor? Did your neighbor's house get destroyed? What are you doing to shelter them? What are you doing to help them out? Oh, well, yeah, exactly. Shut up. That's why these reporters are actually making me mad and upset, and I haven't even gone to the next page. I'm sorry if I just went on a whole tangent here, but I just want to give a perspective of not everything is so black and white to these heroes. There's a lot going on here. We lost Midnight. We lost the Scale hero. We lost X. What is it? X Shot, I think. We lost a whole bunch of people, and then even more people are in the hospital and they can't recover. And then the people who are left over, they are literally being pressed to do their jobs on top of even more, thanks to all the things that have been happening. I'm sorry, it's just like, you got these civilians that are crying out for, well, what did you do? What took you so long to get here? Pardon me. What took you so long to get here? And these reporters are like, oh, you're resigning? Then that means you're trying to get away from responsibility, you coward. Like, shut up. Sorry. I am so sorry. How long did I spend on that? I just went somewhere because that just made me upset. These people don't even know what these heroes go through. But let me keep going. Before I get mad at these people, I'm just sorry. It just bothered me so bad how ignorant these civilians are. But going into the next page, Yoroi Musha resigns. This was the trigger that convinced numerous heroes to abandon their careers. Many had eagerly signed up for the cause when a peaceful society was the baseline assumption. But now, for better or worse, the meaning of the word hero was being put to the test, and someone has desecrated the statue of All Might, literally his last moment as a hero. Someone has desecrated by putting a sign that says, I am not here. See what I mean? This just confirms it. These people have been spoiled. These people have been spoiled by having heroes and having All Might, that it's like, oh my goodness, I wish I could just stand in front of each of these civilians and ask them what are they doing to help better society. Because if you think that it only takes heroes to make a safe society, then you're an idiot, and you deserve what happens to you for thinking with such a narrow-minded mindset. But someone desecrated the statue by putting a sign that says, I am not here, on All Might. And then that stain. That stain. For better or worse, those heroes were being put through a sieve. Stain is out and about, and he got his sword back. Yes. What's even more than this? People are starting to hate the name hero. Stain has returned, and he's grabbing his sword to do his own brand of justice again. What's even more than this? What's next? People were placing that responsibility on the shoulders of one man in particular. I forgot about Endeavor. He's currently the #1 hero, and people are waiting out in droves. News reporters and people are waiting out in droves just to see what Endeavor's going to do next. as if he's just going to regain all of his strength instantly and say, like, I'm going to solve all this world's problems. People were placing that responsibility on the shoulders of one man in particular. I recognize it was Stain immediately. Actually, hold on. Wait, actually, yeah, that is Stain because he doesn't have a nose. He doesn't have his full nose here. I immediately recognized it as soon as his eyes went white and I saw his mouth right there. I immediately knew that was Stain, but Stain is out and about. But they're placing all this responsibility on Endeavor right now. And then one of his doctors is saying, because we're cutting into the inside of Endeavor's room. Your son and the others are mostly out of the woods, and even you somehow managed to pull through, Endeavor. I'm rooting for you. Why is my mic so close? I'm sorry. Was that a little bit too loud? I gotta keep it away from me because if I get too close, then it gets too awkward for you guys. But it's just a habit because I always tend to lean forward when I'm doing that, and I'm trying to get away from leaning forward towards my mic so you guys can't see me. But Endeavor's in his room by himself. I'm breathing, but my head's still in a fog. Anesthesia hasn't worn off yet. Still, I'm alive. And then he's thinking back to what Toya said to him. Let's tango! A dance with your son! Here in hell! No, keep it how you want. I was just asking. Oh, yeah, I do that because I don't want to keep leaning forward because I do that all the time. And it's annoying when I'm out of frame for you guys. So, but then he's thinking back to Toya saying, he must have known I'd survive this because he knows exactly what sort of man I am. I froze in place. Yes, we all know this. For the second time, a son of mine was in mortal danger. First was Natsu against that arrow-using a villain, and now Shoto was against Toya. For the second time, a son of mine was in mortal danger, and I found myself paralyzed. Sure, Best Genus managed to disprove of one part of that speech. I muted it because I was talking to my family. I tend to keep what I say to them kind of private unless I actually invite them into the video itself. So that was just me talking to my mom about pizza. My dad came here to talk to me about pizza, and she just reminded me of pizza. So let's go ahead and keep going with this. I froze in place for the second time. I bit my tongue. For the second time, a son of mine was in mortal danger. Sure, Best Genus managed to disprove one part of that speech, but he couldn't erase the greater truth. But alas, I was a failed creation. It didn't take long for him to reject me. I was tossed aside and forgotten. He's remembering all the words that Toya said. Endeavor doesn't have a sympathetic bone in his body. Oh, wait. I misread that. Well, not a sympathetic, but empathetic. Endeavor doesn't have an empathetic bone in his body. Having Applebee's for Super Bowl? We're having Meat Lovers pizza with a whole bunch of drinks and sweets. We will make sure to brush our teeth because I want to continue grinning for you guys. But Toya saying, Endeavor doesn't have an empathetic bone in his body. At his core, he's addicted to the limelight, a man who wallows. He's addicted to the limelight, a man who wallows in his own small-mindedness and self-importance. It's all true. I'm just reaping everything I sowed. I might get to live on, but Endeavor died back there. My son's a mass murderer yet. I can't fight him. And he says this as he looks like he's about to tear up. And then it shows Shoto coming in. And he can't even say anything. And the thing is, he's looking at Endeavor with like, are you about to cry? And he closes the door because other people are standing with him. He's opening it like this, like, you know the awkward door moments in anime? He did this where he's seeing his dad about to tear up and he's looking like, Dad, and then he closes the door and then Endeavor says, Shota! He still manages to shout out there. And then it's Fuyumi and Natsu. Dad. Good, you're up. And now we're all here together. Are you all okay? And then Natsu says, crying. Over what, huh? Natsu's still salty. Grow up, kid. Seriously. I don't care how much resentment you have for your father. You need to get over that. Grow up. Carrying resentment for someone doesn't do anything for you. Being bitter the rest of your life does nothing for you. You don't forgive a person because they need it. You forgive them because you need it. All right? Learn that. Dude, Natsu. And you would think with him going out of his way to try and save his son and try and apologize and try and be a better father, he would think, okay, maybe he's trying to change. But no, this dude's still salty. Carrying grudges for the rest of your life does nothing but eat you up inside. Natsu, please. Crying. Over what, huh? Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't realize until now. These regrets, this guilt, it's too late to matter. My heart, and he says this as he just breaks down. Endeavor completely breaks down. Yes? What about your heart? Oh! It is the mother! And there's an eyelash in my eye that's just jabbing into it, saying like, haha, we're gonna distract you. But it is the mother who has finally shown up. It is Rei. And now we get the title drop for the chapter. Chapter 300, The Hellish Todoroki Family Part 2. The entire Todoroki family is there. Yes, what about your heart? So Fuyumi, Natsu, Shoto, and Rei, the whole Todoroki family is there, minus Toya, of course. Those regrets and guilt, the rest of us have borne that burden much more than you have. Rei, why are you here? I'm here to talk about our family and about our son, Toya. Yo! The wife has come. She's putting her foot down, brought in a flower and everything. The wife is there. She's about to say, like, I'm here to talk about husband. I'm here to talk about our family and our son. Like, hips swaying. Like, I'm here to talk about our family. And we're here to talk about our son, Toya. And then the chapter ends. Next chapter hits on the 14th, so not only are we not going on a break from what we got from One Piece, but now we're not going on break from what we're getting here as the Todoroki family fully unites under one room, under one roof now. What are they going to talk about concerning Toya? I knew that was Shoto's mom who showed up to see him in his room. I knew it was. But things are not... Okay, so that's the end of the chapter. End of chapter 300. I can go ahead and exit out of this and start to bring this to a close for you guys. But things are not looking good for the heroes. Things are really not looking good for the heroes. Let me go ahead and let me not exit out of chat here. Things are not looking good for the heroes. Views literally 2 days after the fight between Shigaraki and all the thing that has been happening. And Endeavor and All for One breaking people out of prison. Ray is a great mom despite her past, putting her foot down to smack sense into Endeavor. Yes, she is. Every good if for every guy who's into women, for every good man, there's if you get married, it's always something. There always has to be a great woman behind them to keep them centered, especially someone like Endeavor. Like, that was just an example, but in this type of environment, for someone as brash and as brazen as Endeavor, for him to break down this way, now it's up to Ray to be that big parental figure to rein everyone in. I hope she actually reins in Natsu, because this dude is still salty. If only Endeavor wasn't a trash dad. Seriously. This all started because he wanted to surpass All Might. That he was willing to get into an arranged marriage with Ray in the hopes of combining her quirk and his quirk to create the one individual that could surpass All Might as the _1 hero. And Toya was the failed consequence of that. Even though his flames are stronger than Endeavor's, he didn't get a combined quirk like Endeavor was expecting, so he was kind of shunned. But it came about with Shoto still learning his abilities. But all this happened just because Endeavor wanted to surpass All Might. If he couldn't become the _1 hero, he wanted to create an heir that could become the _1 hero and surpass him. All this happened because Endeavor got limelight hungry. Just like Toya said. But there's a lot of things that happened in this chapter, such as after all these prisoners got broken out by All for One, people started to take up arms and try and fight these prisoners with quirks. And it pretty much became so common for these people to fight against these quirk prisoners that it was a common occurrence for these people to fight, and then there would be casualties and destruction everywhere they went. And even when other heroes came to try and see what happened and try and do their best to lend a hand, they got shunned by other civilians, all like, "Where were you? We were waiting this out, but then we got dragged into the crossfire as well. So why did it take you so long to get here?" And then it cuts to people like the _9 hero, Yoroi Musha, resigning. Like, he just wanted to be loved. He just wanted to have love and respect. That's all he wanted. But people are thinking he's retiring because he's trying to be a coward and trying to run away from responsibility. It's like the civilians have no idea what's going through the heads of all these heroes. They're literally short-staffed right now. I find it funny that I bought a bottle of water up here to keep myself hydrated, and then 5 minutes later my dad brings in a can of Mountain Dew. Not only that, the word hero is being, like, said less with joy and comfort and more said with, like, "Oh, great, heroes are here? Great. They did such a great job before, why should we even count on them?" Not only that, but Stain is out there in the open. He gets one of his swords back. But not only that, but Stain has come, the fake heroes are running, and the real heroes stay. It's like, I feel like this is kind of like what Stain was thinking about. Fake heroes who only want to do it for the glory. They're not going to last long in this world. And I guess heroes who can hack it and are not in it for, protecting and serving, and they just want to do it for the limelight and get love and respect like Yoroi did, they're leaving, while other heroes like Wash, they're sticking around to try and help out as much as they can, even though they're kind of being given the shorter end of the stick when it comes to civilians and whatnot. But it's just, this was just like another Talk No Jutsu chapter, but it was still a good one. 9 out of 10 for me here, 9 out of 10 for the One Piece one, and 9 out of 10 here, because we got the entire Todoroki family together again, and now we get to see, like, what is their family dynamic going to be like now that the mother has, she's not in, like, I don't think it was a psych ward, I think it was a rehabilitation clinic, or rehabilitation hospital she was at, but now that the whole Todoroki family is there, Because Endeavor, he does not have it in him to try and fight his son. Because he remembers back when he was paralyzed with fear when Natsu was taken hostage. Then he was paralyzed with fear again when Shoto was fighting against Toya. And he literally couldn't do anything at all. He was just frozen with fear at losing one of his kids. So he says he doesn't have it in him. And not only that, but people are awaiting this. There's an eyelash literally laying on my eye. It is poking me. It's hurting. It really is hurting. This is, ow, this is so bothersome. This really is bothersome. This eyelashes hurt. They really do when they're in my eye. Try my best to get past it. But, and now it's laying on top of my eye and I can't really see it. But, the thing is, news reporters and people are literally looking towards Endeavor to find out what he's going to do next. Because remember, back when he became the #1 hero, he says, I don't have much to say in words to inspire you or anything like that, so just watch what I do. So literally, everyone is doing what he said to them. They're literally watching and waiting to see what Endeavor's going to do. But Endeavor's no longer in the headspace of, like, I'm going to be the best hero I can be. And he's just thinking about his family dynamic and everything that's transpired. He's not thinking about his public image anymore. He's thinking about his family and what he's done to incur this wrath from Toya and all that has transpired. It's like, it's completely different from before then. His mindset has changed and he's breaking down into tears and he's all like, he realizes all the guilt and everything that he's pretty much caused for his whole family. Now all of that is recoiling back on him. So who knows what the next chapter is going to hold for us? Are we going to get more chapters seeing what the rest of the heroes are going to do? What's the Heroes Association going to do? What is the staff of UA doing? What are the views of the people? What are the views of UA in the eyes of the civilians now? What does Midoriya's mom think about Midoriya being in a coma and in like an almost full body cast? Both his arms are in a cast and legs are in a cast. Like, I feel like this is just the tip of the iceberg of the ire from the civilians in the world of World of One Piece, in the world of My Hero Academia. I don't know where we're gonna go from here, but the word hero is losing its meaning amongst the people, and that's not a good thing. With All for One still out there building a literal army of people he's breaking out of all of these prisons. I honestly don't think things are, like, here's the thing. These people are trying their best to try and strong arm these heroes and tell them, like, what are you doing to save us, huh? Why is it taking you so long to protect all these civilians? And they don't even realize the scope of the danger that's lying ahead of them. All for One is out of prison. And he's building an army. Yet no one knows where he is or what his future plans are. And yet we have these civilians narrow-mindedly shunning and bad-mouthing all these heroes, not thinking about, well, what's going to happen if we shun these heroes and they just up and leave. All because we kept bad-mouthing them and saying that there's no use for them here. You see, things sound nice when you're there in your moment. When you let your flesh get a hold of you, when you up in your feelings, and you start bad-mouthing people who go out of their way to try and protect you. But then when bad stuff happens, and those people you've been ostracizing and talking ill about, they're gone, and you're wondering, where are the heroes? Oh, you mean the ones that you said you didn't need? The ones that you said they're worthless? The ones that you spent all waking moments of your life bad-mouthing and telling them they're useless. We don't need them anyway. The moment something astronomically bad happens and there's no heroes around to save you, that's when you start wondering, oh no, I need heroes. It's like these civilians are so narrow-minded. Like, I know this looks like a bad moment to be in right now, but it's like these civilians have been spoiled on peace. Peace has cost you your strength. Peace has cost you your strength. Victory has defeated you. Like, just like I said before, these people have been spoiled on a peaceful society. I mean, yeah, but the civilians are probably scared. This is basically a beginning of a war. Yeah, it is. This is the calm before the storm. Now, mind you, I may be a little bit harsh on the civilians, but it's the ones who are not the ones who are scared and is all like, "What are you doing to protect us, huh?" They don't. I'm saying they're doing all this and they're saying all this, but they have to understand that there's far less heroes to do as much as they have been before. Like their fight or flight responses to this is more like we're scared, but we got it. I understand they have to have an outlet to where do they gotta project their rage onto? Project it onto the ones who are meant to protect us all this time. So I understand some people have to vent a little bit, but I just feel like they're being too hard on the heroes who are doing everything in their power just to try and keep everyone safe, trying to protect people. They don't realize the calamity that's about to come when All For One decides, okay, now it's time for me to make my move now. Like, if they keep shunning these heroes, telling people to and convincing people to resign and letting them know that this isn't a place of peace, we don't need you here, stuff like that, they're going to lose the literal only thing that could possibly stop All For One. Not to mention that Stain is going to be out there as well, exacting his own brand of justice against heroes who are only in it for the fame and fortune. So I don't know where we're going to go from here. Things are just, like I said, every time it appears like the heroes have a moment of victory, the villains come along and say, you know what? I'm going to do you one better. How about we kill a whole bunch of your heroes, destroy a whole bunch of cities, and then in the process have literally the symbol of evil break out of prison, and then start going around to other prisons, breaking out more prisoners to form an army of his own. And then he just goes silent. We don't know where he is. He's just going to go silent. Every time the heroes have a moment to shine, the villains are all like, nah, bruh, let me just show you how this is really done. The villains are really, no matter how many times it seems like the villains lose someone, something happens for the villains that makes it worth that loss. Like, we lost twice. And who else did we lose? Who on the villain side did we lose? Did we have die? I feel like when they lost twice, we lost a whole bunch more heroes. So every time the heroes have something that happens that, hey, look, things are looking good, the villains are all like, yeah, but this, like, the villains are all like, your life was good, but it can be worse. And this is just, I feel like there's so much going around, so many emotions from the civilians, so many emotions from the heroes, that not everyone can get their heads on straight to realize that this is just a setup for something far, far worse. Civilians are in their feelings and not really paying attention to what's going on. Some of them are even making bad decisions, such as trying to fight people with quirks, and they themselves don't have quirks or training in fighting people with quirks, and it's causing destruction and casualties, even worse things that happen, and it's become so commonplace for it to happen that it's just unnatural occurrence, literally 2 days after all the destruction that's happened. So no one is in their right headspace to think clearly. Let me just say that. For all the things that the civilians said against heroes, and for all the things that the heroes are doing, no one is in a clear headspace to think clearly and to put things in perspective. No one is. No one is. Heroes are having to deal with the fallout and deal with the fact that civilians don't think too highly of them. And civilians are pretty much on their last legs of thinking highly of heroes due to what Toya said and sowing discord in civilian life as a whole. So it's just like, no one has taken a breather to think about what this means. I wonder what the rest of the world thinks of this, like, whew, that country kept defeating villains and somehow managing, and then bam, jailbreaks, death, and war. Like, seriously, what does it look like to the rest of the world? Because the thing is, we're focusing a lot on the heroes of Japan, but we don't know what Japan looks like to the rest of the world, and what heroes and other associations in other parts of the world are thinking. So who knows what the whole world is looking to Japan like what views they're giving Japan in all of this right now. But overall, this was actually a really good chapter. But with Rei there, Endeavor's wife, who knows where this conversation is going to be or where it's going to go, but I really hope Rei knocks some sense into Endeavor and also Natsu as a way of bringing the family together, so that this family of people who can't really be in a same room with one another and it feels comfortable can finally get back to some sense of normalcy. So who knows where it's going to go. But sorry if I've rambled on for too long. Wow, this is getting closer and closer to how long I did my One Piece stream. But that's all I got for My Hero Academia. It's just like, wow. The worst isn't over. The worst is not over for My Hero Academia. Things that are going on right now, it's just showing that things can go from worse to even more worse. So, but yeah, that's all I got. I thought this was a great chapter. Even though there was a lot of talking involved with this chapter and the last one, we kind of needed this chapter. Because we're so used to seeing action chapters, and I've been seeing some people say, like, oh, the last chapter was one of the worst chapters of My Hero Academia that's ever come out, and these chapters have been trash. I'm like, dude, did you not really pay attention to the chapter? Not every single chapter of My Hero or One Piece has to be all action all the time. There has to be some downtime. So I'm glad we're getting these chapters where there's some downtime. Things are not calm, but things are less action oriented. So we get to see just where people are at in their headspace at the moment. But overall, I enjoyed this chapter, and I just want to thank everyone for coming out to see this reaction here today. It really does mean a lot. I love doing this, and I look forward to doing more along these lines for you guys in the future. That's all I got. I'm not going to keep you any longer. I don't want to keep you here any longer than you need to. And I hope that I didn't talk your ears off and just ramble on, because I tend to monologue quite a bit. But I thank you, everyone. It really does mean a lot, the support you show this channel. And I'm happy to do this. So with that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples.